the Glazov gang. I'm Anne-Marie Murrell, National Director, Editor-in-Chief of Politichicks.tv, and I am here with the awesome guests, the best in the whole world, Beverly Zaslow, Michael Hausam, and Nonie Darwish. When we were here last, we were talking about Robert Spencer, again, being trashed or ignored by the media when it's the time that he should be talked about. You were going to make a point about that. Do you remember what it was?
No.
Okay, well, we're going to we're going to talk
But it was
about.
going to be awesome.
I know, it was
That
so
was
awesome.
totally cool.
You should have just yeah, it was so good. Yeah. I'm going to talk about your newest article. I just love it. It's on Front Page Magazine. It's called Obama's True Legacy, Not Healthcare. And I'm going to read a quote, which is so great. Like all presidents, Obama's legacy will be decided by history, but the one thing that Obama seems to have succeeded in doing was the one thing closest to Obama's heart, which he acted upon first thing after he assumed office. It is bowing and being of service to the Muslim world. Those are fighting words, woman.
Yes.
What is that?
It's the truth.
Yeah.
I don't think Obama's legacy is going to be healthcare.
Or being the first black president?
It's really not his passion. He left it for Nancy Pelosi to do. He left it for others to do. He was not on top of it. If something is a signature bill like healthcare, and if it's really his passion, he'll be on top of it.
His grand achievement.
Right. He will never let it deteriorate to such a level. His insincerity is so obvious because such a failure to produce a workable product, it just reflects his insincerity. And that reminds me very much of the leaders I grew up with in the Middle East. They were insincere about saying, jihad, jihad, jihad. We want to throw Israel in the sea. They always said that. And they never studied any kind of how are we going to do it. They only said jihad, jihad, and they always lost in every war against Israel because they were not sincere. Obama reminds me of the leaders I grew up with. He says something and he does something else. He pretends. He's such a pretender, and I can sense that because I grew up with people like that.
I also think that he has, and he'll be known for creating one of the greatest race wars we've ever had. He's more insidious with it. They're nastier about it. The way they have turned everything around, they've made it a race war. Instead of him being the first black president and how wonderful this was, they have just turned everything around, and they're the most intolerant, exactly like you say. They are the most intolerant of anybody that's ever been in office. And that.
Well, now, Michael, what do you think about this? This is pretty intense.
It is.
Yeah.
I think that the problem with him with this stuff is he's a creature of the faculty lounge. So sitting around talking about the ideas in an ivory tower of, well, I think that 8 guys should pick health care for everybody, but having no experience in the world, how things work, the assumption that we can have a few ideas and then people will be able to take care of it. I don't know if I'd say he's not interested in it, but he's kind of above it. You know, it's a vision cast of utopia, and the details of, you know, the website and how people sign up and they have to pay for it, and you might want this, but she might want that.
And the assumption that government knows best, that government knows best for everybody involved, that they just have the answers for everybody.
Those are kind of details to be left to people that aren't as important as the big picture. I'm going to transform everything. I'm going to fix all the problems. The water levels are going to raise, and then I'm going to go off to Hawaii for 24 days.
Yeah. But now, Nonie, you said Obamacare is a distraction. You called it an Islamic Trojan horse.
Yes. I think Obama's legacy will be discovered later, and the effects of Obamacare will be either fixed or getting worse. But it's not going to be sustained. What Obama did with healthcare is unsustainable. So it's going to be, it could be fixed. But what he's doing with bowing to the Islamic Trojan horse, opening the doors. Do you know that there are 30,000 Syrians who are going to be brought in by Obama to be, usually they are going to be ushered into our Bible Belt areas of America. To
There's a mosque being built in Mississippi right now, in a little small town.
Actually, in every little town, America, like Murfreesboro in Tennessee,
Michigan.
He is trying to change the fiber of America, the red states, through immigration. So this is what he's doing. He's bringing in a large number of Muslims, and they are building mosques with with an insane speed, and they are trying to actually attract the children of Christians to Islam. He's doing it happily. He's doing the agenda of Saudi Arabia and America, and nobody can see that. I can see it.
And their plan is not just a 5-year plan. It's not a 10-year plan. It's a 100-year plan. So they don't care how long it takes to go in there and take over.
Well, the cultural thing is, for him, there's a deference to any culture. There's a little bit of a guilt, I think, and he clearly despises our culture. I mean, he's made many statements about the Constitution, and so there's an apologetic thing about our culture as it is. And then there's an embarrassment about how dominant American culture has been worldwide. So a portion of that is he's kind of making up for, he's deferring to other cultures and in a way encouraging it as a result of that.
This is a very dangerous deference. We're going to move again now to Benghazi.
I'm sorry, what difference does that make?
Well, yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. Of course, there's a new article by Daniel Greenfield on Front Page Magazine. Bipartisan Senate panel. Benghazi attack could have been prevented. Now, my first question, Beverly, is there such a thing as a bipartisan Senate panel regarding Benghazi?
No, there is not. Right now, there's so much. The information is being kept from us. It's just so partisan that, I'm probably not the best person to speak about this because I believe it's nefarious. And I think that they are so intentionally hiding the information from us and keeping it from us, and that's partly what contributed to this. I almost think that it was done in they were asking for help. They were begging for help for days ahead of time. Why weren't the different agencies working together? Why was the information being kept from each other so that when this happened, they had to clearly know and that on September 11th there was going to be a problem, yet it's like they intentionally wanted something to happen. So I may not be the right person.
Well, Michael, there's a new report that said the deputy of U.S. Ambassador Christopher Stevens said special forces prepared to fly from Tripoli to Benghazi, but were forbidden to do so. The word forbidden to do so by Special Ops Command in Africa.
Right.
Why? Why would they have been forbidden to try to go in and help? In your opinion?
The building we're at has got more security out front than Benghazi did. They
were guarded by locals.
Right.
Yay!
And I don't quite understand how that could possibly be, other than don't want to do anything that would be imposing or violent or something that could be criticized. We'll let them be, and if unfortunately Chris Stevens and some other guys have to take that's just...
They took it for the team.
It boggles my mind.
Yeah,
and that's part of the thing. In fact, one of the Fox contributors, I think it was yesterday, made a comment. She's the lefty. I forget her name. She's in Los Angeles here. She made, her comment was,
Kristen
Christopher
Powers
Stevens... No, it's not Kristen Powers, but she's in LA, I forget her name. Anyway, she said something like, well, he's the one that wanted to be there.
I'm hearing that a lot from people on the left. That is really...
okay.
Yeah.
They get their talking points and they repeat them over and over, but they refuse to increase security there. And they had been asking for it, and they withheld once this was going on and they were getting the messages back in the States that they needed help, they were withholding the help, and they withheld it for a few more hours.
Ronald Reagan called the Soviet Union the evil empire. I think that for this administration, especially the supporters, would say, no, there is no evil at all. So this couldn't possibly be happening.
Right.
The president had said that he had basically defeated the Taliban. Everything was good. And then this happened. No, we're not going to do anything that could push against that
This
narrative.
is where I'm going to give Jamie another plug, but his book, United in Hate, I always think of that because that's what they believe, that if we can, if these people who are diabolically opposed to each other, Islamists with gay people, Islamists with women, with everyone, but they all want to destroy America. They want to bulldoze our country. Media Matters referred to Benghazi as a Republican hoax.
Actually, we would be stupid if we think that Benghazi was not at the least gross negligence, and in my opinion, it's more than gross negligence. There was a lot of coordination between the U.S. government and the Egyptian government on Benghazi. The day it happened, in Benghazi, there was intentional, I think it was orders, the Muslim Brotherhood, to actually get in, do these in front of the the American embassy in Cairo. There was these sudden riots that was unexplainable. It's almost like they were done on purpose to
like
explain.
a red flag. Wow.
As backup to explain what's happening in Benghazi.
Wow.
Because Benghazi, it was terrorist attack. So they there was coordination. So if you want to call it, it's a stupidity if we believe that this was just gross negligence. This was coordinated between the Muslim Brotherhood, who worked like hand in glove with the Obama administration about Benghazi. Something is very fishy, very fishy.
Well, we are going to keep hoping and praying that someone does something. So frustrating. We're not letting it go. I'm going to move on to something else pretty interesting. Common Core approved child porn. This is an article that one of my Politichicks writers, Macy France, wrote. And actually, Al Jazeera is talking about her article tonight. Well, they talked about it this evening on Al Jazeera. There was a panel discussing this particular book called The Bluest Eye. Toni Morrison wrote this book. This, I'm going to read what Macy wrote. This child pornography is protected and lauded because it resides between the pages of a novel and is written by an author who won the Nobel Prize for Literature in the 90s. This is, I wanted to find a quote in this book to explain how really bad it is. It's required reading for high school students. Part of it's written in a sympathetic way for a pedophile with a little girl. The little girl was raped and impregnated by her father, beaten by her mother. She finds solace in the pedophile. She describes rape and incest as friendly, innocent, and tender. Beverly, how far is too far? Is it okay to ever ban a book?
Something like this is going, they take it so far. This is what I refer to as pop culture, because what they're trying to do is move that line, make this acceptable, make it credible. If you put it into schools and it's something that children read, and they're children in 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, they're still young enough that this is the sort of thing that just sort of moves that line about what's acceptable. And this is terrible. This is ridiculous. They can't even read some of these passages in class. They have to go home and read them. They're being told.
No, they will get to read them in class.
But
they have to study them for 3 to 6 weeks.
But some of the passages are so explicit that they are not even allowed to read those passages in class.
Out loud, right.
They have to go home to read those.
They can refer to them and discuss them in class.
And
Correct.
you,
But the
you
actual
know that
reading-
they're going to be talking about it all
And
these kids.
as part of the curriculum, because it's not just because it's actually part of the curriculum and not suggested reading, they spend weeks talking about this. So it's something that gets ingrained deeper and deeper and deeper into the kids' heads. And then when they go out and out of school and now into college, this becomes it's all that part of the understanding. We must understand the mind of the pedophile and the rapist, because really underneath it all, they're good people, that something just went wrong, so we have to understand it. I mean, there has to be a line, yes. When I was in school, they were talking about taking out Catcher in the Rye. You know, it's a very different kind of a story these days to have a book about pedophiles and rapists.
We have about a minute more.
My thoughts about it, when I was in high school, we had literature like this, but it was Penthouse Forum and we had to hide it. Okay?
Right.
But the key, I think the key to it is that it was written by Toni Morrison. She called Bill Clinton the first black president. She, in her letter coming out in support of Barack Obama, said that his creativity and brilliance let her know that he was wise. If this had been Ted Cruz's book, it probably wouldn't be in the curriculum.
Nonie, we just have a few moments left.
The basic thing about this story, pornography, is not just pornography. This is a systematic attack on the traditional family. They want to show that fathers are bad
Oh, yeah.
and mothers are negligent. The regular family is not the best. We have pedophiles and the alternative family, gay families, could be better than the traditional family.
It's the new normal.
They are trying to make our children sympathize with the gay lifestyle, with alternative lifestyles and alternative families, and to make the normal, regular family as bad or to be repulsed. And this is an attack on the traditional family, on fathers and mothers.
You guys, I love you all so much. I have endless respect. Thank you so much, Beverly, Michael, and Nonie.
Thank you.
Ariel Sharon, Israeli Prime Minister from 2001 to 2006. Rest in peace. We didn't get around to talking about him, but thank you so much for watching the Glazov Gang. Come back next week.